Good morning, students. Today's class is a continuation of what we did on Saturday. I taught you everywhere all the topics up to rolling motion. We did rolling last week. So today's class is going to start about the second set of topics, which is kinetic energy, angular momentum, and all of those topics. I have been teaching you physics all along, by the way, so probably you're seeing me for the first time today. Let's start with this, kinetic energy. See, whenever some object is rotating, for example, if you have a disk or you have a ring or something, it is rotating. Every object has an axis of rotation. Okay, so every object has an axis of rotation. This one is the axis of rotation, and the entire object is rotating about this axis. So this object has some moment of inertia I. Now, because of this kind of rotation, every particle in this object, as you already know, has some kind of velocity. There is some kind of velocity which is because of rotation. It is because of rotation. So to discuss this in a way that you can easily understand, let us assume that this thing is actually not a disk, but it is instead just a single particle. Okay, there is only a single particle, and the particle is rotating. Let us say the mass of the particle is m. Okay, so if the angular velocity is omega, what is the velocity of this particle? From circular motion, v is equal to r into omega, because some particle is moving in a circle, so v is equal to r into omega. What is the kinetic energy? We are going to talk about kinetic energy today. So what is the kinetic energy of this particle? The kinetic energy is always equal to half mv square. The kinetic energy is always equal to half mv square. So v is equal to r omega, which means that we can write this is equal to half m r omega squared. So that will be equal to r square omega square. I think you already recognize this term over here. If there is a single particle that is rotating around in a circle for a point mass, the moment of inertia is equal to mr square. For a point mass, there is an axis and there is a point which is rotating in a circle. Moment of inertia is mr square. So we can write the kinetic energy as half. Instead of mr square, we can just simply write I, and then we can write omega square. So the kinetic energy of something rotating in a circle is simply equal to half I omega square. That's the kinetic energy. Now imagine that, let's take another situation, okay. Imagine that there is a particle that is rotating, okay. There is a particle that is rotating. In addition to the rotational motion, the particle is also moving in a straight line. There are two kinds of motions happening at the same. So first, the particle is rotating, okay, the particle is rotating, and the second thing is the particle is also translating. There are two different kinds of motion happening at the same time. What is the total kinetic energy of something like this? What is the total kinetic energy? So kinetic energy of rotation depends upon rotation only. So if the rotation is at the rate of omega, then because of rotating, the kinetic energy will be equal to half I omega square. Okay? And because the particle is translating over here, because it's translating, its velocity will be v or something, then that will be equal to half m v square. So what you need to learn from here is the total kinetic energy, or the net kinetic energy, or the total kinetic energy is simply the kinetic energy of translation plus the kinetic energy of rotation. Keep this thing in mind. Whenever something is moving, for example, if I have this chalk and I throw this chalk towards you, then this chalk is going to have a velocity. Okay, this chalk is going to have some kind of a velocity. So because of this velocity, when this chalk is moving from one place to another, it's going to have some kind of energy. To stop the chalk, I will have to do some kind of work. So it has some amount of energy in it. If I rotate this chalk also, if this chalk is rotating, even then to stop the chalk, I will need energy. When you are applying brakes in a bike, it takes energy, it takes time, right? So all of these things which are moving in a straight line, which are rotating, all of them, they require energy to start, they also require energy to stop. So any moving object, it has a kind of energy because of its motion, which is called as kinetic energy. So when something is moving, it has kinetic energy. Now the thing to understand is when something is moving in general, so far you have just seen objects moving in a straight line or parabolic path, some kind of curved path. In general, when something is moving, for example, if I take this chalk and I move this chalk, then one kind of motion is translation. This is what I was trying to teach you at the beginning of the class. Today I can show it to you. I can show it to you better with a duster. So this, if you take a duster like this and you just move it straight, this kind of motion is translation. Even if I throw the duster like this kind of motion is almost translation. But if I take this duster at one place and I start rotating it like this, that motion is rotation, because it is not going anywhere, it is still moving. That is rotational motion. Now you can do both at the same time. You can just move it and you can also keep moving it like this. So this motion is rotation as well as there is translation. There are two kinetic energies. There is a kinetic energy of translation, straight line motion. So you will write it as KET, just depends upon the velocity. So you can write half mv square. You can just directly write half mv square. In addition to that, it also can have a rotational kinetic energy. So this one is because of straight line motion and this one is because of rotational motion. It's not a vector. I have just written it because of straight line motion and because of rotation. So this will be half I omega square. Keep in mind, V may not be equal to R omega. You have already studied rolling motion. When is V equal to R omega? V is equal to R omega when something is rolling on the floor or it is moving in such a way that the amount of straight line motion is proportional to or it depends on the amount of rotational motion. That is not always true. For example, in the case of this duster, without moving it also I can keep rotating it. So this is purely rotational motion. And in addition to that, I can also move it. So I can move it slowly and I can also keep rotating it. So straight line motion, rotational motion, they are not normally related. But if you have rolling motion, then they are related. That's what we did in the last two classes. All the problems that we solved, rolling motion, problems on rolling motion, we said that an object is moving in such a way that the point of contact with something is at rest. That is rolling motion. Okay. So unless something is rolling, V is not equal to R omega. So kinetic energy of translation is not related to kinetic energy of rotation. They are separate things. But in general, for an object, what is the total kinetic energy? That is the kinetic energy of translation plus the kinetic energy of rotation. We will do some problems based on this. Right now we are not doing anything. I just wanted to show you that this is the kinetic energy. So when we solve problems using work power energy, what we'll do is we'll use this as the kinetic energy. So far we have only solved problems using half mv square. This is the only thing we have done. Now this is the new thing that we will be adding, half I omega square. Okay, let's go to the next topic. All of this comes under rotational motion 2. Rotational motion 2 is basically a bunch of topics which are based on the application of what we studied in rotational motion 1. In a book, normally you won't have rotational motion 2 and rotational motion 1. That is how I am teaching it. Basically, we divide the chapter into two parts. First part, moment of inertia, acceleration, rolling motion. Second part will deal with kinetic energy, will deal with angular momentum. The next topic we are going to talk about right now is angular momentum. And we will actually learn how to solve problems based on these topics. So the next thing we are going to talk about is angular momentum. Angular momentum. Now, before we talk about angular momentum, the first thing is, do you understand momentum? For example, if you take a mass, some block, okay, if you take some mass, and you move this mass, let us say the mass has a velocity of v. So to move this mass, I have to push it, I have to provide some force to it. So motion requires a force. There are two ways to talk about it. When you are applying a force, first of all there is distance and secondly time is taken. Okay. So there are two ways of talking about the same thing. Either you talk about time or you talk about distance. So if you are talking about distance, force into distance is work done. So you talk about energy. But if you are talking about time, the other way to talk about, like force into time, that thing is called as impulse, and impulse changes the momentum of an object. Okay, so whenever you have an object and you push the object for some time, then you are providing an impulse, you are applying some force for some amount of time, then that impulse that you are applying changes the momentum of an object. So momentum of an object is a vector quantity. First of all, P is a vector quantity, and we write P is equal to m into v vector. So P is equal to mv, that's what we write, momentum. So when something is rotating, like imagine that this mass is going to rotate. So instead of moving in a straight line, this mass is going to rotate. So whenever something is rotating, instead of moving in a straight line, if something is rotating, then automatically there is an axis of rotation. Okay, there is an axis of rotation, and in such a case we do not have momentum, we have angular momentum. So angular momentum is represented by L. So L is angular momentum. Okay, so angular momentum combines two things. It combines R and it combines P. So we write L vector is equal to R vector cross P vector. That is angular momentum. You could ask, why is angular momentum defined like this? Why is not angular momentum like, m omega r? Why is it not like that? It is not like that because if you remember when I was talking about torque, the torque is equal to r cross f. Tau is equal to r vector cross f vector. That is torque. So if you apply a torque for some time, like if you apply a force for some time, you might have studied this in your previous class. If you apply a force for some time, then you have what is called as an impulse, right? Or this is also your change in momentum, delta p. The same way, if you apply torque for some time, so you have torque vector multiplied by delta t, then that is r vector. You cannot multiply distance with time, doesn't mean anything, but you can multiply the force vector with time. So you can multiply force with time. So if you multiply force with time, you will get your momentum vector, you will get r vector, and on this side you will get L. So from here you can just simply write that L vector is r vector cross P vector. Okay, so this is why angular momentum is r cross P. So did you understand what angular momentum is? Whenever something is moving around in a circle, so the circular motion, like it has some momentum, you require some amount of force to start it, you require some amount of force and time to stop it. So this object, because of its circular motion, has angular momentum, it has rotational momentum. So if you want to write a definition for angular momentum, the momentum of a rotating object, the momentum of a rotating object about its axis, the momentum of a rotating object about its axis of rotation, about its axis of rotation is called as angular momentum. Now this is my definition. If you're writing this thing in the boards, you should take a look at what's exactly written in your book. But the momentum of a rotating object about its axis of rotation is called as angular momentum. Is called as angular momentum. How do you write down angular momentum? Then you say that L vector is equal to r vector cross P vector. So how do you define r vector? To define r vector, you will require an axis of rotation. You require an axis of rotation, and r vector points from the axis. Okay? It points from the axis to the mass. So from axis to mass is your r vector. This is the first thing that you require. Second thing that you require is m and v. So this is the second thing. So you can write r cross p. That will give you your angular momentum. Okay. Keep one thing in mind. Angular momentum can also be defined for objects that are not rotating. Keep this thing in mind. This thing, this is an important point. This can also be defined. It can also be defined for objects which are not rotating. It can also be defined for objects which are not rotating, which are not rotating. Keep this in mind, because angular momentum is basically a definition. This is not something natural. Just like momentum, angular momentum is not a natural thing. Whenever you throw something, the thing actually has energy. But a way to understand its motion is to define something called as momentum, or to define something called as angular momentum. So it is not a natural thing. So even if something is not moving, it's not rotating, you can still define angular momentum. Just keep in mind that angular momentum is defined as r cross p. Okay, so these are the two new concepts in rotational motion too. What we will do is we'll solve a lot of problems to understand these concepts very, very well. Right now, when you're writing all of this, ask yourself if you understood all of whatever whatever I explained to you. Did you understand what is kinetic energy? Whenever something is moving, the motion of that object gives it some amount of energy. You have studied this in school. The motion of an object gives it kinetic energy. So if a cricket ball is moving in a straight line, it has translational kinetic energy. If the ball is also spinning, then it has rotational kinetic energy. Okay. So kinetic energy of an object that is moving depends on two things. It depends on rotation, it also depends on translation. Exactly the same way, there is another concept. We talk about angular momentum. So what is angular momentum? The momentum possessed by a moving object, a rotating moving object, is called as angular momentum. How do you define angular momentum? The first thing you do is you define an axis of rotation. There will be an axis of rotation. If the object is actually rotating, for example, if a fan is rotating, then the axis of the fan is your axis of rotation. So if you have a fan, like for example, if you have a fan and the fan is rotating, then this itself is your axis of rotation. Okay, that's the axis of rotation. But even then, even if something is not rotating, we can still define angular momentum. I'll show you only, then you'll understand. But right now, just imagine it this way, that whenever something is moving, it has linear momentum. If something is rotating, then it has angular momentum. That's the logic I want you to understand. How do you define it? You define it as r cross p. Now let's take r cross p and let's show you that it is equal to I into omega. So you take r cross p. So this is your L. Let's remove the vector. Right now let's keep things very simple. And let's just write r cross p means r into p. Let's keep it very, very simple. Okay. So what is the value of p? If something is rotating like this, because this is circular motion, so you can write v is equal to r omega. This is not because it is rolling. It is because it is moving in a circle. So whenever something is rolling, I won't write circle. But because it is circular motion, I have clearly written that it is because of circular motion, v is equal to r omega. So I'm saying v is equal to r omega. So you can write rp. So you can write r. Instead of p, you write m into v. And instead of v, you write r omega. That's because it's moving in a circle. So what will you have? M, r 2 times. So you'll have r square. And omega 1 time. So you will just have I times omega. L is equal to I omega. So just like kinetic energy, what is kinetic energy? Half I omega square. If something is rotating, the rotational kinetic energy is half I omega square. So if something is rotating, the angular momentum is I into omega. The angular momentum of that object is just simply I into omega. So you can obviously define the relation between angular momentum and kinetic energy. You could say that, like, if an object is, it's rotating, then you can write kinetic energy is equal to half I omega square. What is I omega? L. So you can multiply by I, you can divide by I. So you will just write half I square omega square, L square by I. So kinetic energy of rotation is equal to half L square by I. You must have studied P square by 2m, same thing. So L square divided by 2I. This is everything about angular momentum. This is the entire definition. This is the entire idea of defining angular momentum. We'll start doing a few problems right now. Okay, I hope all of this should be clear to you. If you have any questions, do let me know. When you're watching this, do let me know if you have any questions. Out of all the comments that all the messages that you guys have sent me, it does happen that when I'm recording a video, I do make a couple of mistakes. Thank you very much for pointing it out. Alright, so let's go on, let's start with a few questions, let's do a few problems. We'll start with basic problems on kinetic energy. To start with, we'll go with kinetic energy, that's kind of simple for everyone to understand. So problems on kinetic energy. Okay. So let us say that there is a disk, this is a disk, and let us say the mass of the disk is 2 kgs. The radius of the disk is, let's say, 1 meter, and the disk is rotating with some angular velocity of 4 radians per second. Very simple problem, okay, about its center. The disk is rotating with an angular speed of 4 radians per second about its center. What is the kinetic energy of rotation? What is the kinetic energy of rotation of the disk? So how would you define kinetic energy? Kinetic energy, in this case, the disk is not moving, but even then, even if you write that the disk is moving, this is 0. So you can write kinetic energy is equal to kinetic energy of translation plus kinetic energy of rotation. Don't do this always. If you understand it's not translating, you can just write this is equal to 0. Simple. Kinetic energy of rotation. So it will be equal to half multiplied by, not mass, I, moment of inertia, multiplied by omega square. So half I omega square. So what is your moment of inertia? This thing is a disk. If you remember, the moment of inertia of a disk is equal to half mr square. So are you given the value of mass? Yes. Are you given the value of r? Yes. So you combine both of these. So you will write half into the mass is equal to 2 kgs. So you just write 2. The radius is equal to 1 meter. Put 1 squared. So the moment of inertia is 1 kg meter square. No need of the units. It's SI units. So you can just write half multiplied by moment of inertia is 1. Just write 1. Multiplied by omega square. So omega is equal to 4 over here. So you just put 4 squared. So how much is that? Half into 16, which is equal to 8. What is the unit? The unit will be joules. Because this is energy, the unit of energy is joules. So even kinetic energy of rotation is measured in joules. Okay, so you have this on the board. Take a look. What if we made this thing a sphere? What if that thing was a sphere? So with exactly the same values, you can try it right now. I guess since I'm going to erase the board, you don't need to pause the video. You can try to solve the exact same problem for a sphere. You can also try to solve the same problem for a ring. See what is the difference. If a ring is rotating, if a sphere is rotating, what is the difference? In this case, if you take different objects, if you take a disk, you take a ring, you take other things. For example, let's take a sphere. Okay? Sphere se start karte hain. Let's take a sphere. What will change? Kinetic energy is always half I omega square. If you take a sphere, or if you take a ring, or if you take a shell, or if you take anything else, if you take a rod also, what is going to change? Half will stay as half, it will not change. I will be some number multiplied by mr square and then multiplied by omega square. So if you take a sphere, in case of a sphere, you will have the value 2 by 5. If you take a ring, this value will be 1. If you take a shell, this value will be 2 by 3. So out of all of these things, which one is going to have the maximum kinetic energy? For the same angular velocity, the shell is going to have the highest kinetic energy because its moment of inertia is high. So kinetic energy of rotation depends on angular velocity and it depends on moment of inertia. So if the angular velocity is the same, the moment of inertia, if it is high, then the kinetic energy is going to be high. So if you tried solving that for a ring or something, so instead of I is equal to half into 2, I would be equal to 2. So if you put 2 over here, then this would just be equal to 16 joules. So on and so forth. Okay, let's try another question. So in this case, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to give you two kinds of motion. Okay, so the disk is going to rotate and the disk is also going to translate. I have already taught you rolling, so you decide if the disk is rolling or not. All of these are problems on kinetic energy, so keep that in mind. All of these questions will be on kinetic energy, and later on we'll go for angular momentum. Let us say, second problem, let us say there is a floor, okay? Let's not confuse you. Chodo. There is no floor. There is only a disk, and the disk is moving in a straight line. Okay, the disk is moving in a straight line. Let us say with a speed of 10 meters per second. The disk is moving in a straight line with a speed of 10 meters per second. Let us say the mass of the disk is equal to 4 kgs, and let us say the radius of the disk is equal to 1 meter. All of these values are given. Let the angular velocity of the disk be equal to 2 radians per second. I have changed some values. The angular velocity is 2 radians per second. The mass of the disk is 4 kgs and the radius is equal to 1 meter. What is the kinetic energy of this disk? Whether it is rolling or not, we'll see. We'll see later on if it's rolling or not. Try to understand over here that the kinetic energy of this disk is because of two things. If the disk is moving, so just because of its motion it is going to have kinetic energy. If the same disk is just rotating, then because of its rotation also it will have kinetic energy. In this case, the disk is moving and rotating, so it will have kinetic energy of translation. It will also have kinetic energy of rotation, both. It is translating, it's also moving, so it will have both kinds of kinetic energy. If it was only moving, only translation, only rotating, only rotation. If it is doing both, it will have both kinds of kinetic energy. Okay? Don't think that the rotation has something to do with the translation. No. Only in the special case that something is rolling, rotation and translation are linked. Otherwise, there is no relation between rotation and translation. They are different things. Okay? So, in this case, the kinetic energy of translation is how much? So, the kinetic energy will be half. Okay? Mass is 4, so you will just write mass into velocity squared. So that is half. The mass is how much? 4, so you just write 4. Velocity squared, that is 10 squared, that makes it 200 joules. This is the kinetic energy of translation. Next, rotation. So because something is rotating, you will write half I omega square. So I omega square. Do not write V is equal to R omega. ठीक है, ध्यान में रखो V is equal to R omega मत लिखना. तो ये चीज़ मैंने क्या बताया था? I said this thing is a disk. So because it's a disk, write half into m into r square. That is your value of moment of inertia. So the moment of inertia is how much? Half. Mass is 4. Write 4. Radius is 1. Put 1 squared. Moment of inertia is 2 kg meter square. Okay, so we'll use the value of 2 over here. So this is half multiplied by 2 multiplied by omega square. So what's omega? Omega is 2. So you'll write 2 squared. 2 and the 2 will cancel. It will just give you 4 joules. So in this case, 100 joules, 200 joules is the kinetic energy of translation. And only 4 joules is the kinetic energy of rotation, so not much, but the total kinetic energy is 204 joules. When something is moving as well as something is rotating, the kinetic energy is because of both of them. ठीक है? देखो समझ में आया कि नहीं? If you got it, good. This is how we do questions on kinetic energy. Obviously these questions are very simple. They are intended to teach you what is kinetic energy. Let's try another question. Okay, let's try one more question. Let us say that there is some kind of a surface, and on this surface there is a wheel. So this wheel could be anything. We'll see what this wheel is, and let us say its velocity is 2 meters per second. Some values. Okay. Let us say the radius of the wheel is 2 meters. And in this case, I am mentioning that my wheel is rolling. My wheel is rolling. So I've taught you rolling motion. If the wheel is rolling, the velocity of the surface and the velocity of the wheel, both of them, they should be equal. The velocity of the surface should be equal to the velocity of the wheel. So what is the velocity of the surface? The velocity of the surface is 0, because I did not say that my surface is moving, my surface is at rest. So the velocity of the lower point of the wheel, we have already seen many problems on rolling motion. The wheel is moving forward at 2, so this is also 2. I don't know how fast the wheel is rotating. So let us say that is omega. This velocity of rotation is omega. So this point only will have a velocity in the backward direction of 2 omega, because radius is 2, r into omega. So what is the total velocity of this point? The total velocity of this point is 2 because of translation, because of this one, and 2 omega because of rotations. Always translation plus rotation. They are in the opposite direction, minus 2 omega. This is equal to 0. So you can just simply write that omega is equal to 1 radian per second. This is because something is rolling. Now my question is, what is the total kinetic energy? Again, total kinetic energy is because of translation plus because of rotation. So you will just simply write kinetic energy is kinetic energy of translation plus the kinetic energy of rotation. So what is the kinetic energy of translation? Half into mass. What is the mass of this thing? I did not give you a mass. So let us say the mass is equal to 1 kg. So let's just take some simple values so we can solve it. Let's say the mass is 1. So into 1 into v squared. So v is 2 meters per second. So into v squared. Half mv squared plus this value plus what is the thing for rotation? I said this thing is a disc. It's a wheel. I said it's a disc. So you can just find out the value of I. You can just put the value of I over here. So half into I. So for a disc it will be half mr square. So mi took 1, r is 2. So mr square. This is the value of I over here. This is I multiplied by omega square. So omega is equal to how much? We found omega is 1. So into 1 squared. What answer will you get? 2 square is 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Kinetic energy of translation is 2 joules plus, what about here? 1 by 2 into 1 by 2. 1 by 4 into 2 squared. 4, that will all cut. You will just get 1. So in this case, the kinetic energy of translation is 2 joules. The kinetic energy of rotation is 1 joule. So you will get 2 plus 1, which is equal to 3 joules. Samajh mein aaya? So I gave you a question with simple rotation. I gave you a question with translation plus rotation. This is another question with translation plus rotation, but subject to the condition that that thing is rolling. So these are 3 different questions. In general, when we solve other questions about rotational motion in this chapter, we will see that the motion may or may not be linked. So when I am teaching you all of this, I am emphasizing on one thing: the motion may or may not be linked. In either case, the total energy of an object is the kinetic energy of translation as well as the kinetic energy of rotation. Alright, few more questions. Let's at least try 1 or 2 more questions before we wind up. Let's give you an actual problem, okay? Slightly different. Let's give you an actual problem. Let us say that there is an inclined plane, okay? Let us say there is an inclined plane and an object is rolling down an inclined plane. So this is an inclined plane and an object is rolling down this inclined plane. So this is a disc and down this inclined plane some object is rolling down and then it moves forward also. So keep in mind that the object is rolling. Let us say initially the object is at rest and finally when it reaches over here it is rolling, okay. Mass of the object is given as 2 kgs. Radius of the object is given as 1 meter and let us say the height through which it is rolling and falling down is given as 4 meters. That is the height through which the entire object is like rolling. This angle is not given, but if you want, let us say this angle is 53 degrees. It's a 3, 4, 5 triangle. So in such a case, I am simply asking you, what is the velocity at this point? What is the velocity at this point? Provided that it is told this thing is a ring. Can you solve it? Let me rub the other side of the board. Think about solving this. So let us say that thing is a ring. The ring is rolling down. So keep in mind the problem clearly specifies that the ring is rolling down. What is the velocity of the ring at the bottom of the inclined plane? Velocity क्या होगा? Can you do it? What would we say? Because something is rolling down the inclined plane, we can say that V is equal to R omega. So at the bottom part of the incline over here, one thing we can say is the object is rolling, which means that the object is moving forward. In addition to that, the object is also rotating. We can say both of those things. So if the object is rotating, then we can say V is equal to R omega. V is equal to R omega. तो अगर V is equal to R omega है, at this point the object is at rest. At this point the object is moving. So we can say here the object has potential energy, kinetic energy is 0. Here the object is moving, so the object has kinetic energy, but potential energy is equal to 0. दोनों जगह हमने एनर्जी निकाल लिया. अब हम लोगों ने देखा कि बीच में कहीं पे there is no rubbing kind of thing, there is no friction, there is no heat dissipated. There is friction, but in rolling friction doesn't dissipate energy. We'll talk about that some other day. Today I'm just trying to teach you basic problems. So friction is not going to dissipate any amount of energy. So we can say between our initial position and in our final position, the kinetic energy initial plus potential energy initial is equal to kinetic energy final plus potential energy final. We can say this. And initially kinetic energy is 0 because the object is at rest. Finally the potential energy is 0 because the object is down, no height, so potential energy is 0. Now we will need to write equations. What is the initial potential energy? Very simple. So we can write m into g into h. So this is your height, 4 meters. M is given, so m into g into h is equal to final kinetic energy. So we can just write half into m into v square plus final kinetic energy is because of two things. Always keep in mind the object is rolling, so the kinetic energy is because of translation and because of rotation. So for rotation, so you'll write half into I into omega square. You'll write both of these, half I omega square. हमें क्या निकालना है? We want to find out the value of V. So take this equation over there. You'll write mgh is equal to kinetic energy of translation, that is half mv square plus this thing is a ring. So the moment of inertia is equal to mr square. तो क्या लिखेंगे? Half, instead of moment of inertia we'll just simply write mr square and then we will write omega square. So you'll write omega square over here. समझ में आया? This thing is rolling. So when something is rolling, V is equal to R omega in this case because the object over here is rolling. If you do not believe me, what you can do is you can understand over here. When the disk is moving in a straight line, the surface is at rest. So we have solved a lot of questions where the surface is at rest, and in that case V is equal to R omega. So you can just directly realize over here that V is equal to R omega. Now you just substitute. V is equal to R omega. We have R square omega square. So we can write half m R square omega square. So instead of R square omega square, what we can do is we can just write V square. Okay, over here. Plus here also we have half mv square. So we will write half mv square, and here we have mgh. So if you cancel the mass all throughout this equation, you'll see that gh is equal to v square. Half v square 2 times v square, or v is equal to root over gh. So we were asked what is the velocity? The velocity is root over g times h. So what is the value of g? The value of g is 10. You put the value of 10, h is equal to 4, put 4. So you will have this is equal to 2 root 10 meters per second. This is how you solve a problem. So when you are given questions on rolling, when you are given questions on rotational motion, or even normal questions, what we do is we normally choose energy as a method of solving if you are asked what is the velocity. If you are asked what is the acceleration, then we choose force. If you are asked what is the velocity, what is the distance covered, then we will use the energy approach. If you are asked what is the force applied, what is the acceleration, what is the time taken, if time is asked, you cannot use energy, because in these equations there is no time anywhere, there is no time dependence. So if time is asked to you in a question, you cannot use the energy approach. The energy approach can only be used if you are asked velocity. If you are asked distance, then you'll use this approach. Okay. So that's it for today's class. See you.